What's up, everybody? This is Kyle, Brett, and Morgan from the Arcade Hack with our third podcast. We're going to be talking movies, TV, a little bit of world events. Not much, though, because we really don't know too much what's going on, apparently.
Yeah,
And
we're
talk.
way out of the loop.
Yeah.
And I gotta bail on you guys and go help my mom with something.
I
So
hate.
I'll possibly be back later.
Okay. Well, I
We
guess
could-
this is going to be a Kyle and Brett podcast.
Yeah,
I'm not
I'm
editing
fine.
this out, by the way. I'm gonna fucking just leave you in here saying you have to go help your mom. So you look like a little whiny white boy.
Yeah,
Oh,
we
sorry,
see,
I'm
like,
helping somebody who needs help, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, your mom is kind of
helpful
hot.
person, what
your
can I
mom
say?
Your mom is kind of hot, so it's okay.
And your mom's not.
That's okay. I could deal with that. Anyways, bye, Morgan. All right, back to the podcast. um, I guess TV. Let's get started off. Game of Thrones, Brent. Game of Thrones.
First, we got to toss out spoiler alert times
Yes.
like 7,000.
You haven't watched was it The Lion and the Rose? Yeah, The Lion and the Rose. If you haven't watched it, don't listen to this.
Or skip. You'll have to edit it so they can skip like a few minutes.
Yeah. Anyways. Okay, so first off, title choice should have been called About Damn Time.
Yeah, really.
Like, I saw it and I was like so excited. I was like, finally, this asshole is dead.
I'm pretty sure everyone was just like
yeah.
cheering pretty much.
Like, I couldn't get over. Like, I was getting so like physically angry when he was laughing at that stupid play that they were putting on, and he was like losing his shit, and I was like, it's not even that good. Like, it's not even funny. Like,
Yeah, he was just like losing his mind.
and
I
like,
feel like even the people around were just like,
Sansa, do you see Sansa? She just like glared at him. She's like, "You motherfucker!"
yeah.
She wanted to like gut that guy herself, but
I'm
I
not
think,
gonna hope that she would just like jump up and stab him or something.
honestly, I was kind of expecting that too, because I was just like, I'm like, because they kept like focusing on how pissed off she
Yeah.
was getting. I was like, it's gonna happen. I know we talked about this last night, but like the actual death scene, was so well done because like, I mean, I kind of saw it coming, but they kept emphasizing the wine glass, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay, something's going down. And I know I talked to you and Amon about this last night, is that they did such a great job, because I find far too often in movies and TV, they they drag out the death scene too long, and they leave you with this like lull at the end. It's just like they die and you're left. They kind of just like are like, all right, this happened. Sit here and think about it. That really just happened, and it's
Yeah,
like
they just,
you
like,
wait.
keep it there.
Yeah, or they keep going with the episode, but they wait forever to introduce something else, or they go to like a completely different scene. And like I found this was just so perfect because it was like he died, and like they did drag it out a little, but they had to have that dramatic effect. And
Yeah.
then like the second he died, like, you know, was it his mother was just like, it was Tyrion, it was him, and like they just like immediately had that pickup, and it just took off like right again. It was perfect. It was so well done, because then you're like, oh, holy shit, what's gonna happen next? Like on the edge of your seat immediately after, which I don't know. I think they did a phenomenal job of it. But
Yeah, no, that's definitely the way to do it. So you don't have, like you say, that moment of just like, okay, and then
I get it, he died.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Jeez.
No one's gonna
Even,
miss
like,
this
I
asshole.
thought the effects were pretty good too.
Yeah. I found too, like, in terms of the whole wedding, like they put a lot of, I don't know, they put a lot of like detail into it too. Like there was like so many things, like they showed all like so many different aspects of like what you would actually see at an actual wedding, and like they gave you that real, it really, I don't know, the atmosphere was just so, I don't know, believable, I guess. Like it wasn't just like, you know, little clips. Like they had, you know, the part of the ceremony, they had like the reception, they had like, they actually showed you them like bringing out the cake and everything else, and
Yeah.
like it was cool because they really, I don't know, they really created a whole experience. It wasn't just like, you know, it wasn't like, I guess, like the red wedding, right, where it's just like ceremony, now everyone's dead.
Yeah.
Like they just
That
like
happened so quick though.
yeah, and but yeah, I don't know. In general, really loved it. It was really well done. Red Wedding too. We're gonna go back talk about the Red Wedding. I had people kind of ruin it for me because everyone's like, every character is gonna die, and I was like, holy shit! Like I expected like everybody there. I was expecting there to be like 2 characters left that I actually knew,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, the Starks died. It's kind of cool.
That's
it's
a
just
pretty
like-
big deal though.
Like yeah, like don't get me wrong, the 2 that died were like a huge hit to the show, but
yeah.
at the same time, I was like, it's not really everybody. Like when you say everyone, you may want to like change that up because like I'll be honest, when I heard about it, like from other people who were like, because I hadn't caught up yet, like I heard from everybody else, I was expecting far more. So like I was just like looking at all the other events. I was like, okay, so
I hate when
this,
that happens.
yeah, and I was kind of like, well, all these, there's a lot of people doing a lot of big shit right now, but it may be all irrelevant because of this red wedding thing. But I didn't know, right? So it was like it kept me guessing, and which was good. It didn't like, it wasn't like a total spoiler, which was good. Um, so like I don't know, that was one thing I really enjoyed about it is that it at least didn't spoil like completely ruin it for me. So
Yeah, I hate that though when somebody builds something up for you and then like you have these expectations and then you just see it and you're like, that's
yeah,
it. Like,
well,
fuck.
speaking TV, that kind of is what happened to me with The Walking Dead. Like I love that show. Like I watched the first season with my girlfriend. Like we watched the whole thing. I found it kind of drawn out the first season. Like I was just like, it seems
Yeah.
like there was so much like just drawn out, and then there'd be like one walker attack, and be like, oh, and then it's just like it would either end or would go immediately back to like the long drawn out part of it. So like me and Reed and me and my girlfriend were like, you know what, we'll watch it at some point. We'll get to it. And then like on Facebook, all I see is like I'd see mainly from them, like mainly from like the actual Walking Dead Facebook page, but also from other people like, oh my god, can you believe that this person did this? I'm like, thanks, because I totally wasn't gonna watch it later.
Yeah, I
Like,
purposely don't like follow anything or read like any comments about anything of the show I'm watching. And
yeah,
then like in regards to The Walking Dead too, I find like the first season of that, yeah, it's a little bit slow, but they're just setting everything up, like getting you into the aspect of what's going on, and then I feel like that show picks up. It's definitely not like a fast paced show, but it's I love that show. It's awesome.
yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Like I think it's very well put too. Is like I found it set it up in the second season onward. Like it was just everything was go go go. Like there's still those like long drawn out story segments, but like they kept it a lot more like of an active, engaging thing. Like it was never really like you never really had those like long things where you're like, wow, did I even just was that actually a whole episode? Like what the fuck even just happened? Like
Yeah.
you never had that happen anymore, right? Um, like I don't know right now. I don't know where you're at in The Walking Dead, but I'm at season. I actually just started watching season 4, which just ended a little while ago. Which apparently the second half of it apparently is absolutely unbelievable. The first half some people said was good, and then other people were like, fucking nothing even happened. I was like, oh, well then. Apparently the graphic novels are absolutely like fucking phenomenal. A girl I work with actually, her boyfriend collects them and like gets them like sent. He actually got them like to get like graded, like on how like legit and like authentic and like great they were, like how like in great condition they were and everything else.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So like, but yeah, apparently it's just like he says it's just like the best thing ever. Like it can't even touch like the TV show. But
I've heard the games are actually pretty good too. I've never played them.
yeah.
But
Oh, like you're talking about the storyteller ones or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like they basically like, go through like the season. Yeah, apparently they're really well done, but apparently they kind of aren't like they're not quite what the story in the show is. Like apparently they are like a story driven like I won't say RPG, but almost like a third person shooter type thing. But apparently is like it's very story driven, but it is a different story from from the other part. Well, welcome back. Okay, just segue in there. But yeah, we were just talking Walking Dead. We already talked Game of Thrones, so you missed that portion
Well, I
of
don't
it.
know anything about Walking Dead, so
Yeah.
Shit.
But yeah, I don't know. Any other TV shows you guys have been really watching that you guys want to talk about? I've honestly just been watching like Game of Thrones and Walking Dead. That's all I've really been watching lately.
Yeah,
I tried watching the 100, and I watched while I was going to sleep.
it's actually called The 100.
Oh, sorry, the 100, not the 100. My bad. I started watching it. It seems pretty cool. I was watching it as I was going to sleep, so I kind of like watched most of an episode. It seemed really good from what I saw, but I just actually have to sit down and watch it one day. But yeah, what else are you
Never
guys
even
watching?
heard of that show. What's it about?
It's about the number 100.
Yeah, history and how it was created. And, no, it's a math TV show. It's got to be great. No, it's like I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm kind of remembering the synopsis, but it's like there's like 100 people, and they're like basically have to like repopulate the Earth and stuff. And I don't know. Like the Earth was like all like fucked up, and like they
It
were
was
like
basically a nuclear war. So a bunch of people went up to the space station and live up there, and then it's starts dying because they're running out of oxygen. They send down 100 people to try and see if Earth is habitable. I don't know how you would
Yeah,
say that,
habitable.
but and then the people that go down don't want the other people to come down, so then it's just
Yeah,
Interesting.
it seems cool. It seems like a very like I don't know that struggle of like not wanting other people to come reminds me of like the feuds of Lost. They never wanted anyone to come to the island because they didn't know if they were good or bad. Like what's gonna happen next? But I don't know. It seems like it's gonna be a good show. I just gotta like actually sit and watch it still.
Speaking of Lost, I'd like actually need to watch that show one day because I'm sure
It
I'd like it, but
it's
I never
great.
have.
It's fucking amazing. I loved it from start to finish. It was cool because like I remember watching, like I'm usually the kind of guy like I like to watch. I usually watch shows or try to watch shows like once the season's done, so I can just watch it like all in a row.
Yeah,
So, but like Breaking Bad, I couldn't. The last season, I was like, I need to see what happens, especially after the first episode. The first episode was absolutely unreal. Like the first episode of the last season, I was just like, oh, okay, well, I'm definitely watching. Or I guess it's the first episode of the second half, which is absolutely like unbelievable. So, but Lost, when I was watching the last season as it was coming out, it was cool because I remember there's me and a group of my friends that we talk Lost like after the episodes and stuff like that, and it was like we would always have like theories on like how it's gonna end or like what's gonna happen in the coming episodes, and like every week it was just so funny listening to everybody because they're like, I know I said this last week, but I'm and they would just like completely change everything, and it was really neat. Yeah, I don't know. It's really cool, and even now, like as someone who's like watched it through, it's even cool going back because there's so many things like I've rewatched it like probably like a dozen times, which it's pretty
Jesus.
hardcore. Yeah, I know.
How many seasons was there? Wasn't there like
There's like
few?
six seasons.
Yeah, that show's been over for what, like 4 or 5 years, something like that.
Hmm, no, it's not 4 or 5 years. It's only a couple of years ago because like
I feel
it
like
ended.
it's a while.
It was only like two. It was only like 2 or so years ago, dude.
Huh.
But anyways, so happened was like they had a actually would have been 3 years ago. Sorry. But I found like even rewatching it, like there's so many things like I didn't notice before, and like there's little things that I'm just like, oh, this kind of makes more sense now. There's still like, as everyone complains about, there's still tons of things that are like questions that you never really find answers to. But it's kind of cool in a way though because like it kind of leaves that to your imagination, and like it's
Yeah, I feel
kind of
that's like half of that show's like aim.
yeah, like you, and that's the thing is like I never really take those people seriously. They're like it's so stupid. They never explain like that's cool though because like it leaves that like it really breeds a great community, right? Because so many people are gonna have their own theories, and it really just engages people in conversation. Especially like I'll be honest, like there's a lot of shows I've watched that like I've talked to other people and like, oh yeah, it was really good, and like you know you kind of get opinions about it, but like they're all more or less in the same spectrum. Whereas like Lost, it's so cool because you could say one thing about one part of the show, and like it'll spark a conversation that you can honestly talk about for fucking ever. Like you could talk about it for like the entire night. Really, just thinking of how you think this fits together, or like what this actually meant, and like it's just so cool because I think a lot of it is you take your own meaning from it, right?
Yeah,
Which
your own
is pretty cool.
interpretation of everything, pretty much.
Yeah. So yeah. All right. Let's you guys to talk movies now. Um, there's the last, I guess, the final trailer of X-Men: Days of Future Past dropped this week, which was I don't know. It looks like it's gonna be absolutely amazing. I mean, they have a really great cast, and I mean the fight scenes look really well done. A lot of cool mutants and stuff in these ones. Apparently, Quicksilver's gonna be in it, which is kind of cool, and yeah, they got a bunch of other awesome mutants. But have you guys seen anything about it? Are you guys interested even in X-Men at all?
Yeah, I'll probably watch it, but I haven't really paid attention to it at all, no.
Yeah, well, it's pretty cool because like it brings the cast from the original. I guess I shouldn't say the original, but like the X-Men movies they made like way back with like Patrick Stewart and everything else. It brings that cast and like the cast that they had in X-Men First Class with like James McAvoy and stuff. It brings those two casts together into one movie. So like you see like Wolverine goes like back into the past and like tries to like fix stuff and like it's really because I don't really want to give away the plot, but they it's cool because yeah, it goes like back and like so you see like Professor X as like Patrick Stewart, and then you see like young Professor X as James McAvoy. So it's really really a neat story. But yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think it's going to do really well. I think it's going to be great. They haven't really disappointed. They haven't disappointed people in a while, anyways. I mean, the Wolverine was a really great and well done movie. Kind of a weird story, but everyone hates Origins. I thought Wolverine Origins was pretty good, but I mean, the original three were
I always heard that
not
was
spectacular.
terrible. So yeah.
I didn't think it was all that bad. I mean, they had a pretty decent cast, and I mean, it's cool that they had like Gambit in it and stuff, and yeah. But and then they have Deadpool, but they can't actually call him Deadpool due to licensing rights, which was kind of funny. So that was pretty neat. Yeah, it's actually pretty hilarious. But yeah. And speaking of kind of touching base with the Lost thing, there, one thing about interpretations of movies and stuff, or like of shows and movies, one show or one movie I actually really recommend I've recommended this to a lot of people before is Donnie Darko. I'm sure most people have seen it, but there's actually a website I found at one point, and it has all these different theories on like what the movie means. And like there's one summer where I went really hardcore and I watched it like probably I won't say necessarily every day, but probably pretty close. And every day I like would read a theory and just like watch the movie and try to find like how people see it and like how that would actually pertain to the actual movie itself. It was pretty cool because there's a lot of really weird and out there theories about what the movie is actually about, but it's pretty cool. Yeah,
I've heard of it, never actually seen it though.
Seriously? Oh, it's a fucking great movie. You should really check it out.
Never heard of it.
What? Don't lie. You've totally heard of Donnie Darko.
Nope.
Seriously?
On this planet.
I don't know what it is. I'm actually gonna look it up right now.
Oh, well, you know what? I'll lend it to you sometime because it's a pretty cool movie. You'll probably relate to it. The guy's kind of weird and creepy, so.
Wow. Yeah.
Slid that in there. Sorry, Morgan. This is just a personal attack.
So far from looking at these pictures on Google, I'm weirded out.
Whoa, you're weirded out? Man, stop the world. The world's clearly gonna end right away.
Is that a bunny rabbit monster mask or something?
Yeah, it's this weird like rabbit he like starts like seeing shit, and he like starts seeing that thing and it like starts guiding him through this like crazy journey. So it's pretty cool. You have to watch it. If you want to. Are you working tomorrow?
No.
I'll bring it tomorrow and you can borrow it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'll be right back again. My mom's calling me again.
Anyways,
got nothing better to do than
days like that, or when I hear things like that make me so glad I don't live at home.
Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you, Brent. fuck your Edmonton. Yeah, I don't know. Not a lot of other movies I'm really excited for to come out. I mean, I heard Captain America: Winter Soldier, which is absolutely great, which I really want to see so bad, but
for some reason I just like can't like. I don't know. I hear Captain America and I just like don't.
You can't take him seriously because well, honestly, he's a badass superhero, but like his villains are just so shitty. Like it's got the red. Like I mean, most of his villains, his like major villains, were like in World War II and they like died, and like a lot of them somehow withstood the test of time somehow. And I mean, he's got like the Winter Soldier, which is pretty cool. He's got the shittiest name ever, but he's pretty cool. Like I don't know. I found like. The whole Winter Soldier thing, when I heard that's what they were doing, I was like, oh great, they're doing the Winter Soldier. But I actually read like there's it's a little small comic book event that comes after the Civil War storyline in the comics, and it's called The Death of Captain America, and it's got like a lot of it has to do with like the Winter Soldier and stuff, and like honestly it was really really well done, and like it gave me a little bit more respect for him, I guess. But they made him look like the look of the Winter Soldier in this, like he just looks like a fucking badass. So I'm just like, okay, I'll probably go see it. But apparently it was a lot. I had a friend who actually went, and he said going into it, he was like, I think it's gonna be a pretty good movie. But then like when he actually saw it, he's like, honestly, he's like it was great, and it actually exceeded my expectations. So I have kind of high hopes based off that, but we'll see.
I hope it doesn't let down, but who knows?
I mean, they've got Marvel movies planned up to like 2021, I think, something like that.
Yeah, they've got so many freaking movies they can.
Oh yeah, I mean I'm really excited. I'm glad that it's taking off. I was actually watching the special the other day, and it's called Marvel Assembling a Universe, and they actually talk about how like Marvel Studios, right? They were like they'd never really put out a movie on their own before. Like they were never really like their own studio. Like they kind of assisted in a lot of the other movies and stuff like that. But like would they decide to like launch? They launched, I think it was the first Iron Man and the Incredible Hulk. So like those two movies, those were like their title ones, and they were just like, we took a huge chance, going into this, like saying like, hey, we're gonna try to release our own movie on our own, right?
Yeah.
And apparently, a lot of people they tried to get so many people on board, like different producers and actors. Apparently, so many people turned them down because they're like, "There's no way you're gonna do it." And Robert Downey Jr. signed on, and once he signed on, apparently so many people like wanted in just because he was in it. Like, I mean, he is a great actor, but like you think about it, like Gwyneth Paltrow, like she really doesn't need to like go and like scrape for work. I mean, she's probably like stupid wealthy, and I mean, she actually requested, like she came up to him and was like, hey, like I want to do this movie, like like she actually came to them. And and there was a part with Samuel L. Jackson, which is pretty funny because he's like, when I was a kid, he's like, Nick Fury was a white man wandering around with a bunch of other white guys. Like, Joe's like, but then he's like, later on, he's like, I saw that they had this black Nick Fury, he's a black guy, and he's like, I wanted to be part of it. And apparently that's actually who they modeled it after. Like when they did, I guess it's the new Ultimates, which is like a different storyline of the Avengers and stuff like that, and like in the Marvel universe. And that Nick Fury they actually modeled it after Samuel L. Jackson when they made it originally.
Nice.
So like when they did like, because you've seen the little extra at the end of the movie where they have like Samuel L. Jackson like sitting on the couch, he's like talking to Tony Stark or whatever.
Yeah.
Apparently they did. Welcome back. Apparently he didn't want anybody to know, and they didn't want anyone to know. They wanted this to be like a complete secret and a complete shocker. So what he actually did is he got in character, like got dressed up, makeup, everything in his car, drove his car on set, got out, shot the scene, got back in his car, and drove away. So like not one person saw him, like no one on the lot, nothing. Like there was really no way around it that it was gonna leak. So it was like a pretty cool thing, but yeah. So I mean, it was a really neat special. I didn't get to finish watching all of it, but yeah, if anyone ever has time, check it out. It's called Marvel Assembling Universe, which is pretty.
You just
pretty
like
neat.
blew my mind with some nerd knowledge right there.
Yeah, mind blown.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know. They got a lot of good movies like slated. Like the new Amazing Spider-Man looks like it's gonna be great. When they're hinting that they're doing the Sinister Six, which is like, super big part of like the Spider-Man, like, villains and everything else. And they were actually already signed on to do a third and fourth movie already, with this one not even coming out yet, which is pretty sweet. I actually didn't know this the other day. Sean from work was actually telling me that like superheroes are all owned by like all the rights for movies and stuff are like owned by so many different studios. Like I think it's Fox owns X-Men, and then I think it's Sony Pictures owns like Spider-Man. That's why like a lot of those guys haven't made it into the Avengers movies, is because of like licensing rights. And I think Deadpool is also with Deadpool's also in what's called in with Fox. And apparently too, he even Sean was even saying, I forget what movie it was, but they go to say mutants, but they can't actually say mutants because that's like that part of like the X-Men part of it, like of the series and stuff, is actually owned by like Fox, so they can't even use that in like their productions. Yeah, it's like that hardcore that just kind of a shame because it really limits how much they can do. But because I mean, back in the day, like the animated series, like they had the X-Men Spider-Man crossover, which was like such an amazing part with like such an amazing like little episode thing in that series, but. Whatever. I mean, they're still doing great without it, right? So.
Never really been into the superhero movies much. I mean, I watched Wolverine, but I mean, other than that, I don't really watch much of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I honestly, I've always been like, I was always a huge Spider-Man fan, and I didn't really care about anything else. And even like Iron Man, like when Iron Man came out, like they were talking about how big of a deal it was that they released Iron Man, right? I remember I was like, I saw commercials like, I can't even believe that they're doing Iron Man. That's like so dumb.
Iron Man, I love. Iron Man's sweet.
Yeah, see, I never really liked him, and then I was like, yeah, this is gonna be stupid. And then I saw the movie, and I was like, this guy is the fucking man. Like, this is fucking great. And I just got so into it, and yeah. And honestly, I wasn't really into Captain America either until like I started reading the comics, and like I realized that like him and Iron Man are like really like the two like pinnacle characters that like really control so much of what goes on. But I don't know. There's a lot of weird superheroes out there. But I think didn't we have this? I think I had this conversation with Jackson the other day. It was about like the shittiest superheroes. And I was like Aquaman, obviously, but
Yeah,
there's a
well,
there's a lot of like
anything when
useless
he
ones.
gets on land, what's he gonna do? All some crabs and turtles.
Gasp for air, then pass out on the beach. Just no.
Can he only breathe underwater? Is that how it works?
No, he actually can breathe like above water as well. But actually, I had this movie. It's called Justice League Flashpoint, and my girlfriend got it for me for our anniversary. Actually, it's like one of the gifts or whatever. But it was really funny because they're in this alternate universe, like an alternate timeline, and I laughed so hard because like they tried to make Aquaman like this badass, where he's like all the people of the sea. He's trying to like launch their assault on like on the land dwellers, and like it was just so shitty. It's like I'm sorry,
They all
Aquaman.
hit the ground and died.
Actually, it was a pretty cool war because it was like Wonder Woman had like all like her like Amazon people and like all like had this big like war, but like Aquaman died pretty fast, I think.
I mean, it's what are they gonna do?
Yeah, but see, that's the thing though, is like you can have those superheroes, they just don't have to be shitty. Like Marvel has Namor or like the Submariner. He was like, he was like basically almost looks kind of like Aquaman, but like he was not like he was still kind of a shitty superhero, but like he
Where
had
are
a
you
cool
going with
story.
this, then?
Well, no, he wasn't like didn't stand out like obviously like your Iron Man and like Spider Man and stuff, but like he has like a lot of bigger parts in the comics, and like he always acts like a badass. Like he's just like he still has that mentality, I guess, like similar to like that alternate universe one where it's like he kind of looks down upon like man and like the people who live on land and everything else because he's just like he's kind of like I guess like Thor in that respect, like like the Avengers where he's kind of like you humans are so petty, you guys just
Yeah,
like
but
fight over like anything.
he's
But
still Aquaman, so what's he gonna do?
yeah, well, like the Submariner though, like he's like he was like the like demigod of like the seas, but like he did like other shit too. Like
Oh,
he
so
wasn't just like
could he actually control the water?
yeah, kind of. Like I haven't read too many stories with him, but like as far as I've read, that's kind of what I've understood him to be. But yeah, he seems I don't know. He seems like he's kind of cool because like in the there's this whole part of the series where there's the Infinity Gauntlet, and it's like a glove, and they have these like 5 gems, and like one's like the gem of time, and like they all have different attributes and everything else. And he's actually like he's like part of like the Illuminati that they have of these like superheroes that like are this high council that try to control everything, and like they control each of them controls a gem, and he was entrusted with one of them. So I mean, he's not like he's not like a bitch, I guess, but he's not really a main part either. But yeah,
Well, I mean, still might be a bitch.
yeah, he still could be. So video games. I tried playing Elder Scrolls Online again today, and I just couldn't even do it.
Still terrible, eh?
I tried doing it. I just like, you know what? I'm gonna do this, and like I logged in, and like I read the quests I had to do, and I was like, you know what? I can do this. It's gonna be fucking awesome. And like it just kept lagging, and like, and then like there was times I'd run up to stuff, and all my graphics were fine, and then I'd walk up to this door, and it'd be like stupid pixelated, like it looked like Morrowind, which was like I think 90. It was like 2000, and like I was just like, this is so fucking terrible looking. And then like it would like click, and it'd be like, oh, it's back to normal again, and then. I don't know. I just couldn't like after that. It just frustrated me to the point where I was like, I don't even care anymore. Like I don't even want any part of this. So I don't think I'm gonna play it, but which is kind of sad because honestly, I had such high like. At first, I was ragging on it because I heard a bunch of people playing the beta and it was shitty, and I was just like, oh, this is terrible. But you know what? I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt, and I was actually really excited because I was like, you know what? Hopefully, I'll be like completely wrong, right? Like hopefully they'll actually transition into an MMO really well, and they'll do a great job and then I'll just be, I can eat those words. I'll be fucking like so happy if that happens. And then it just, I don't know. The stories seem like okay, but they don't drive me like Skyrim and like Morrowind and stuff did. Like when I like played Morrowind and Skyrim and stuff, I was like hearing them talk, and I was like, okay, yeah, I totally need to go here and do this. Like I totally get it. Like, and this is just like I don't know. They're just like, oh yeah, I gotta go here and.
I've been
Kill
playing
some
Clash
stuff.
of Clans a lot.
Yeah, me too.
Especially with the new update with the Clan Wars that happened. Was that last week?
Yeah, I haven't done it yet. 'Cause I'm
Clan
just
is
not
currently
playing
1-1.
Clan.
Woo! It was
I
really
need to
fun.
do it.
It was really funny because Brett told me the other day when we were trying to do something. I was like, hey, dude, we're gonna do this. You're like, dude, I was just about to clash some clans. I was like, fuck off. It's like,
You
are we
don't, you
Morgan?
don't even understand. Okay.
Well, it's like I think it's yesterday at work. I was talking to Morgan. I was like, yeah, I think like me and Brent, or me and my friend Brent. He's like, he's my friend too now. I'm like, oh, okay, sorry. And he's like, yeah, he's like, we're kind of best friends. We don't really need you anymore. I was like, oh, okay, I see how it is. That's
Yeah,
cool.
Sorry, I forgot.
Just
to tell
how it
you.
works.
Yeah, I'm getting edged out here.
Yep. It's gonna be the Morgan and Brent show, featuring Kyle. Sometimes maybe if we feel nice.
You can guys be more
if we're in a
Brent.
good mood.
If we're in a good, if we deem it necessary to have you waste our time. I'm trying to think what else I've really played. I've been playing WoW, but I mean that's like no different than any other
Yeah,
week.
that's
Yeah.
you'll be playing WoW for the rest of
Wait,
your
Stop
life.
the
going.
presses.
I haven't been playing League of Legends.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's news.
Ooh. That is
I was,
news.
I was playing some League of Legends when Nerf came out there for a while, and then I kind of just stopped.
Like,
I got bored of Earth and then got distracted by other stuff, and I've been
Yeah.
tired all week, so I haven't really done much.
yeah, I've been sleeping really shitty lately. It's kind of
I haven't even gone to the gym very much lately.
that sucks. You were like all about the gym for like the past little while. Your trainer and everything
Well,
else.
I am all about the gym. I just
Still
really
am.
tired lately.
Roid rage, bro. Still am about the gym, motherfucker. So angry. So angry, Morgan.
That's what the gym does to you. He's probably on roids.
Probably. Yeah. If I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna make it worth my time. Instead of spending more money on like longer gym membership, I'm gonna spend a bunch of money on roids. It totally pans out. So ACDC broke up. That happened.
Yeah, I heard about that.
That's a world event. That happened.
That is a world event. That's a sad day.
I always bugged people at work about it because when I worked on nights, a couple of the guys were huge ACDC fans, and whenever we would, they'd like, okay, we're playing ACDC tonight, and they'd always look at me and like laugh, and I was like, all right, yeah, whatever, it's funny. And then like I would start going up to them after a while, I'd be like an hour in, I'd be like, when are they gonna play their second song? And they used to get all pissed off, but I told them the other day. And I felt like an asshole because I didn't know why they stopped, and they were all like, I was just like, yeah, I'm like, cheer, I'm like, I won, like ACDC broke up, so, and then this guy I work with, Justin, he's just like, the dude had a stroke and like can't play guitar anymore. And I was like, oh, I feel like I'm an asshole.
You asshole.
But and then on the flip side,
Or maybe he's a Zasshole. Get it? Because his name's Kyle Zastry.
hey, don't give him my full name. I don't give him my full name. It's creepy.
Everybody on the internet now knows your last name.
Oh, consider
Yeah.
your credit
All
cards.
13 of our viewers.
No, they're all
Three
gonna
of which
hunt.
are probably us.
I actually don't watch our podcast, which is pretty
I
terrible.
didn't watch the last one. I'm not gonna lie.
I watched part of the first one, but yeah, we're pretty terrible people. But you see, speaking of terribleness, though, after he told me why it happened, I was totally the asshole and being like, he's like, he forgot how to play guitar. You can't do. I was like, oh, I'm like, well, on the bright side, if he ever tries to learn again, at least he only has one song to learn. And I was like, I'm such an asshole. I'm going to hell.
I hate you.
Honestly, though, like, all in all, I know I joke around and say that, but like, straight up, they were like a pretty, like, I don't know, they're a pretty good band for, like, I don't necessarily like them, but I don't necessarily hate them.
I
Talk a
feel
lot
like
of smack.
ACDC is the type of band that you can't really like not like.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I find it's like there's songs like it's one of those things. Like, I think of like all these movies I've watched and everything else, and like I think of all these like songs in the background. Like, I mean, Iron Man especially. They always like in every Iron Man movie, they always have some ACDC song playing in the background. And I mean, it's one of those things. I'm like, yeah, that's awesome. And I was like, but I would never I'd never be like, you know what, I'm gonna make an ACDC playlist, and I would never do that. But I don't necessarily hate them. But
I totally do that.
you can make an ACDC playlist. It's
My
getting harder. To say.
ACDC playlist is like all of their albums.
It's called all their songs, bro. Easiest playlist to make. I guess technically, if you just put any combination of songs, it'd be the same thing.
Fuck you.
Still on that. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to talk about?
Anything else really? Still haven't found the plane.
Yeah.
Sub out for that.
Even though I told you that they found it the other day, and
You're lying, dickhole.
I swear I saw an article that was like, "Hey, They found the plane, and they had like it was like they actually had a picture of a plane like above water. And like found plane in Indian Ocean. I was like, Courtney Love was
Just
right.
some picture they googled.
Plane above water. Yeah, no.
I thought they were searching for it. Like I was at the bank today, and like on the TV at the background there was like some crap about the plane, and they were showing like floating wreckage.
Yeah, see, and I know there was an article I saw the other day that actually said that now they think like the black box like battery has like died, so like it's not gonna keep going or something. I don't know,
Probably not.
but
If they haven't found it by now, they should probably just give up. In my
yeah,
opinion.
I mean, I get that they people obviously want closure and everything else, but like how much resources are you gonna put towards this? Like now they're getting subs and they have like everybody in the entire world like being like, where is it? Where is it? And I mean, honestly, I want to know just as much as the next person, but like, it's like it's getting a little much.
Yeah.
But teach their own. I mean, if that's what they want to do, all the more power to them. And I mean, hopefully they do actually find it, right?
It'd be interesting if they do to see like what happened, why it took so long.
Yeah. And you know my theory: Lost actually happened. They just predicted it early. That's all.
Probably not. I don't know if there's been any more moves in the Ukraine. I'm
Yeah, I haven't really been. I know, like,
assuming I'd have heard around.
That was it, man. Good thing I went to the bank today because it was on the fucking TV too. Was the Ukraine apparently like some Russian? This could be terribly wrong, and I could be the worst person.
I read an article about it the other day too, actually. So yeah,
Right.
you start talking, I'll correct you if I need to.
All right, but no. Apparently, I think this was like recent. Was like Russia. There's like some Ukraine military people, and Russia pretty much came in and took them over and like took them as hostage. But then,
Well, yeah, I think that was on the
saying
weekend. Or
that
something.
they actually decided to join Russia. So.
Oh wow.
nobody
So yeah,
knows
the,
for-
the article I read was like they were talking about, I guess, like in like I think it was like northern Ukraine where like they haven't actually had any military activity, and like there was some like pro-Russian like freedom like fighters that were like there trying to like start shit and like were like killing people and stuff. And yeah, try to take hostages. So maybe that's the same thing. Maybe it's just the story's developed since I read it. But yeah, it's pretty crazy, man. I mean, I don't know. I just don't get it myself. But, I mean, I don't understand. Like how people could just do that. Be like, you know what? Just fucking start fighting and shooting people. So I'm glad we live in Canada. That never happens. If it does, it gets like quelled right fast. People are like, nope,
I'm
stop
gonna
being an
start doing
asshole.
that and see who gets quelled.
If it gets quelled. You're just making fun of me for using the word quelled.
Yeah, pretty much.
I
I like
must
that
say,
word.
I'm actually kind of impressed. I don't think I've ever heard anyone like fit quelled into an actual.
I've used it quite a bit lately, actually. We had like some like in WoW, we had like the officer meetings or whatever a while ago. I was like, I will quell it right fast. I kept using it.
Yeah.
And remember, like, was we were talking to your girlfriend, and she's just like, she's really like hardcore about like grammar and everything. I was like, did I use it properly? Like, I had to like do a double because our friend Jason misused some word, and she was just like afterwards, she was like, you didn't even use it properly. And she was like telling me and Brett, and we were just laughing so hard because she was like, she didn't care about anything else in that conversation, but the fact that he used a word wrong, she was just like, it ruined her day.
Yeah, that one really got to her.
It's pretty funny. I don't even remember what word it was either. I kind of wish I
I'm
did.
trying to think now.
Yeah.
It's like on the tip of my, well, not tip of my tongue, tip of my brain. Is that a saying?
No.
Tip of my brain is definitely not a saying.
It's a saying now.
Sorry, that's still the tip of my brain.
I remember when we were in college when they started talking about people like who are not quite, they were like on the edge of like, I don't know, getting the material
Glory?
and everything else.
She said
Yeah.
you're on the edge of glory.
They were totally on the edge of glory. No, they were talking about like, people like, if you're not really getting the material, but the phrase they kept using was on the cusp. And I was like, they said it like 14 times in one speech that was like probably like maybe 10 minutes. I was like, get it, on the cusp. I get it.
Yeah,
Like
jeez.
he clung to that and like till the end of it, and it was just like it's not even that good of a phrase. People who are on the cusp just sounds weird. But yeah, there's something at work that happened, and I was gonna try to remember what it was that I was gonna talk about. Fuck.
It's probably pretty lame anyway.
Oh, actually, the other day, me and Steve were talking about 90s music, and we totally started talking about Prozac, and it was pretty funny.
Yes.
I was totally listening to Prozac last night. It was hilarious.
I
And I was like
remember we had
watching,
that conversation yesterday. I'm like, I'm listening to Prozac.
and I was
Yes.
watching, yeah, and I was watching like the music videos. I was like, these I used to love that when I was like younger, and like the videos were just so shitty. But like it was just funny because we're like sitting there working, and then I forget how it came up, but one of us was just like, "Do you remember Prozac?" And then all of a sudden we're like sitting there like, "I'm a Baba Sharek." I was like, "God damn it!" And then I walked up to Steve and I was like, "I got a strange disease," bam, 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 and they just like burst out laughing, and it was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, man.
Uh,
That's some old school stuff.
Yeah, fucking '90s music was there's some pretty good gems from the
Yeah,
'90s,
there
but
is.
yeah.
Them 90s gems.
Speaking of the '90s, by the way, I know I'm probably like no one's probably gonna agree with me on this, but Friends reunion episode thing they're making, like, come the fuck on. No one cares.
I care, actually.
They're doing that.
Oh,
I'm pretty
they
into
are.
that show, bro.
It's called The One After the 10-Year Break. Yeah, the 10 years of social non-relevance. Nobody cares. Like, one person out of that show did something, like, has done, like, consistent work afterwards. And that's Jennifer Aniston. Like, a bunch, like, don't get me wrong. Some of them have done, like, some things. Like, I know David Schwimmer was, like, in Band of Brothers, and, like, he was doing some directing and stuff. Matthew Perry had, like, a couple movies, and, like, I think he's been, like, a TV show. But, like, the rest of them... I mean, the chick who plays Phoebe, I think, did like one, maybe two movies. I think it was like P.S. I Love You and fucking
She was
Easy
in-
A.
Yeah, I was gonna say she was in that one with like Emma Stone. I remember.
Yeah,
that. I was
and
like, the fuck.
Matt LeBlanc, I don't think has really done much of anything. But because I mean, I'll be honest, like there's times when that shit happens, when there's like where you're not working for a while and you tastefully try to bring it back. Like, or you try to kind of come back and you ease your way back. But I mean, to me, it just seems so desperate. It's like, oh, cool, you guys are gonna totally try and like bring all these people who really haven't done much in like a long ass time and try to do the exact same thing you did when you left. Like, I don't know. To me, it's like lame. Like people what's his name, Bob Saget. Like he's done work since Full House. Most people are always like, oh, it's the Full House guy.
Yeah.
But he's done like so many like other videos. I mean, he did Farce of the Penguins, which was hilarious. They basically just took March of the Penguins and got a bunch of comedians and redid the audio for the movie and made it like a comedy, which was hilarious. I mean, he's been narrators for stuff, and I mean, him and John Stamos. John Stamos, again, another guy who hasn't done much since then, but like, you know, they're on the internet making like funny videos about them. Like they had like one where it was like the John Stamos like snuggle system, and it's like him snuggling Bob Saget. It was fucking hilarious. Yeah, it's actually super hilarious. Like he talks about like how to cuddle somebody, and it's pretty funny. But you know, I don't know. Friends reunion. I never liked the show to begin with, so maybe yeah, I'm obviously a little biased. But like, I find the people who are gonna care about that are people who are still like the '90s were the best times of my life. Like those are the
Yeah.
people who are gonna be like, this is so great. But I don't know. I can't take it seriously myself. But, yeah. So that's that.
I didn't even know that was a thing. So
Yeah, I saw it on Facebook and I was like, really? Come on, no one cares. Like, there's gonna be like 3 people watching it.
that's kind of funny because I feel like a couple weeks ago I heard you and you were just talking mad shit on Friends.
I just don't like it. I never liked it. Like, don't get me wrong. There's some funny parts of that show, but it was never enough to keep me like, oh my god, I need to watch Friends. It's on. Like, there were so many other, like, man, I'll be honest, this will sound really lame and maybe kind of nerdy. I would rather watch Frasier than Friends. Like, Frasier was like, I don't know, I found it was like witty and like dry humor, but I liked it. I liked it way more than I like Friends. Like, straight up. I went out of my way to watch Frasier sometimes, as opposed to watching Friends.
I feel like you have like a hate on for.
I totally do. I mean, I think it's too, like, a lot of people when I went to like middle school, like when it was middle school and I guess like elementary school part of it, like when I was there and like people were watching it, I don't know, there's a lot of people who were like so into it, and then there was like, I was into like Seinfeld. That's like what I really liked. I loved Seinfeld. And everyone was like, Seinfeld's lame. It's like, Seinfeld is fucking hilarious, and it's still hilarious. But
I remember watching like 3 episodes of Seinfeld and being like, eh. But I also believe I watched it when I was like a kid, so I probably
Yeah.
didn't have a sense of humor I do now. I should probably go back and watch it.
yeah, like I mean, a lot of the jokes and stuff are really funny, and like I don't know, in general, like I like Jerry Seinfeld's like style of comedy. So I mean, in general, I think it's it's just a great show, and there's a lot of classic references that like I know some of the people I work with like they'll still like make reference to Seinfeld. I was like, that's pretty hilarious, right? And,
Yeah.
there's a lot of little things like that. But I mean, there's certain shows that do that, right? Like there's certain shows, they're they're what's called their little one-liners or like token phrases or like episodes that happen, they stand the test of time. And then there's other ones that unless someone who's like super hardcore, I hate to say this, kind of like me, where I remember such random, like I'll remember really random things, unless they're really like, oh, remember, you're like, oh yeah, I kind of remember that. Like there's certain shows that are like just like that, right? There's like the one or two people who like remember something and they're like, then everyone else is like, oh yeah, I sort of remember that show. But yeah, there's some good stuff before, because I know we're probably gonna call it soon. But two things, two things I've seen on YouTube this week, two channels that I've checked out. It's gonna be really horrible because I have to look one up because I don't remember the guy's name. But first one, a guy by the name of Cinema Sins on YouTube.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, he is fucking phenomenal. Like he just like picks apart every movie and just does like this like fantastic
Is
like
it one guy or is it like a couple guys that run that channel?
to be honest, I've only heard the one guy. Like for me, it's like everything I've seen, it's always been the one guy. But
Yeah, I'm not too sure.
and the other guy here is a user by Noble87. He actually does World of Warcraft lore videos, and he actually gets like all the lore he gets is from a combination of World of Warcraft, Warcraft 3, and he actually goes even further to grabbing all the lore from the novels and graphic novels and comic books, which is really cool. So like I watched one actually the other day on it's the story of Anvina, which is the girl who's in the Sunwell, who just seems to kind of be there and no one, like, I mean, I know when it came out, I never knew anybody who actually knew who she was or like why she was there. Everyone knew that like Calicos was like, really attached to her and everything else, but nobody really knew what was. And I watched like this video. It's actually, I'm looking at it right now. I'll maybe drop a link in down below, but it's a great video. It's like 17 minutes, but yeah, it's phenomenal, and it actually has gotten 42,000 views. So I mean, the guy's doing really well for himself. But yeah, honestly, he does. I've seen a couple other ones too that he's done, and they're just so amazingly. They're dead on in terms of everything I've heard. Like in terms of the actual lore and the like what they're actually describing. But it's really cool that he actually goes in. He actually like he'll tell you like when he does the graphic novel references, he'll actually show like the picture of the page and stuff that they talk about it and everything else. It's really cool. And he has like some of the cutscenes from Warcraft 3 as well. And he actually he goes really a lot deeper too. Like he'll actually have like he's like, even though he's like in this part he's like Kael'thas was here and like he was doing this while these people were like, he even goes that far to like give you the surrounding events, because it's all to do with the Sunwell, right? So it's like, while these people were doing this, Kael'thas was trying to assault this and blah blah blah, and like everyone, he gives you like really like what everybody's doing, which is kind of cool. Well, thanks again guys for listening to us still. I don't know why you still are. I mean, I know I sure as shit wouldn't, but I'm gonna toss some links down below with some of the videos we talked about and everything else, and we will talk to you guys next week. See you guys.